Weather Lab. Here's Eric's forecast.
If you thought the fog was thick this morning, it's going to be nothing compared to what you're going to have to be dealing with the next couple mornings. So make sure you're giving yourself some extra couple minutes, especially if you head out earlier in the morning, because it does look like a good bit of sea fog will be with us the next several mornings, and no real changes. It gradually clears out with maybe some sunshine during the afternoon with very warm temperatures getting us into the 70s. So taking a look across what's going on in the Pelican State and out into the Gulf of Mexico, you can see we continue to have that stream of mid to low level clouds working in from the south-southeast. Also now starting to get a few light showers developing out in the Gulf of Mexico. I think those are mainly going to push off to the east and mainly get more New Orleans. Maybe St. Mary Parish could get clipped by maybe an isolated shower. But for the most part, Acadiana will stay dry. But what these showers are doing is right now it's limiting our fog potential. But once we kind of get these showers out of the way, that'll allow for that sea fog to begin to move onshore, and that'll make for a very messy commute tomorrow morning. Dense fog advisories have been now extended all the way from the coast to Alexandria, and that continues until 10 a.m. So the fog will be sticking around through a good bit of the morning before it finally mixes out like it was today, before we finally get those low clouds to start to move away. But right now, visibilities aren't too bad. Many of us are still at 10 miles, at least inshore, but you can see down towards Cameron Parish, they've already seen visibilities drop drastically down to nearly zero. Under 2 miles in Lake Charles, and you can see out to the east over towards New Orleans, they're starting to see some of that fog move onshore, but winds are starting to turn a little bit more south-southeasterly, and so with that, that's going to help push that sea fog onshore. So here's what we really have ongoing. We have these very cool waters thanks to the chilly temperatures we've been having right along the Gulf Coast. You can see in those mid-50s, but out farther in the central Gulf of Mexico, temperatures are in those mid-70s. So with that southeasterly flow, it's pushing that warmer air over the cooler shelf waters, which is causing that fog to then develop. So here we can kind of see that warmer Gulf air from the central Gulf is riding over those cooler waters. That's causing it to condense and cause some of that lifting that happened, which is causing clouds to form, but very shallow clouds basically right along the surface, and then that is pushing it inshore, which is causing the very heavy fog to develop, and that will be going on just about every night this week. So you can expect a good bit of fog every morning all the way through about Thursday before our next front comes through and kind of changes things out. And so taking a look at the model, it shows the possibility for visibilities dropping below a mile for just about everyone in Acadiana, especially south of the interstate. You'll have the better chance to see much lower visibility. So just keep that in mind. Give yourself those couple extra minutes. Make sure you're using the low beams as you're heading into work or school tomorrow morning. Once we kind of get rid of the fog and maybe an isolated shower, as I mentioned, down towards St. Mary Parish through the morning, very similar to what we saw today. Low clouds stick with us through a good bit of the day, but maybe eventually we finally get a few peaks of sunshine. Temperatures getting back into the 70s. And again, maybe can't rule out a stray shower, but most of us do stay dry throughout our Monday. Similar story on Tuesday. We'll wake up to that sea fog moving onshore, gradually lifting and mixing out throughout the day with maybe an isolated shower possible. But rain chances look to be very low the next several days. Even in the Wednesday and Thursday, no real change. A very warm spring-like pattern continues to be with us. It won't be until about Thursday afternoon that we finally begin to see some rain developing across the northern portions with our next front. That eventually arrives into Acadiana late Thursday night into the early morning hours on Friday. But even behind this front, we're not looking at a whole lot of rain. Very light green showing up, so just some light scattered activity, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain. So this is not going to be that very heavy spring rain that we want for those crawfish. This is just going to be a light rain, not expecting a whole lot with this. But what we will notice is another round of some cooler temperatures as we get that northerly flow to pick up, dropping down some Canadian air as temperatures begin to fall back down into the 40s throughout much of the day, possibly on Friday, with overnight lows maybe getting down into the upper 30s by Saturday morning. But for the rest of tonight, we have that dense fog advisory in place with visibilities dropping below a tenth of a mile in many locations. 62 officially for that overnight low here in Lafayette. And then for our Monday, pretty similar to what we had today. Low clouds and fog in the morning, gradually mixing out to some sunshine in the afternoon with warm conditions. 74 degrees, I think, is where we get for an afternoon high, with maybe a 10-20% chance for a stray shower. Very similar conditions all the way through Thursday. Overnight lows stay very mild in the 60s. There's that front Thursday night in the Friday. Behind it, temperatures drop a little bit. Highs in the 50s Friday and the Saturday. Overnight lows cool down a little bit too. So winter's not done just yet, but you can see we quickly rebound back up to the 70s with very little rain chances. So it's going to be kind of more of a spring-like pattern the next several days before some cooler temperatures arrive by the weekend.
All right, thank you, Eric.